All right, CNT120, Chapter 4 Lab. We're on Part 5 now. We're going to look at IP version 4 header. And to do that, we're going to create some ICMP version 4 traffic to allow us to look at the IP version 4 header. That's what we're going to do. So to start off, we're going to set a static IP on the Windows PC, and then we'll set a static IP on the Linux virtual machine. So on my Windows PC, I'm going to open up my network settings. Now, as we do this, we're setting a private address on here. It's going to remove us, from connection from the internet, so to speak. So we're just going to be local. So don't panic about doing that. This is kind of a repeat of what we did back in the Chapter 3 lab. So we'll do Ethernet, we'll do properties, we'll do IP4 properties, and we're now going to use the following. And I want to use this format. I'm going to do 192.168. We're going to use 10 dot. Okay. I want to use my PC number, but I want to use a format that makes sure that both my Windows and Linux machine can play nice. So I'm sitting at computer 2 right now. So normally I would plug 2 in here, but if I try to plug 2 in on the Linux machine, they're going to conflict. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that into a number, a 100 number. So I'm going to make my Windows PC 102, and I'll make my Linux PC 202. That way they are unique and they don't conflict with each other or anybody else in the room. So on my Windows side, I'm going to make this 102. Click in here. I can use that as my subnet mask, and I don't need to worry about a gateway. I'm not trying to get anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to say OK. I'm going to say close. I'm going to say close. And that should now be applied. I'm going to verify. I'm going to close all that out. I'm going to verify with my command prompt. I'll do an ipconfig. Oop, come on now. There we go. ipconfig. And I'm looking at my Ethernet 3. That's all I need. I just need that much in there because we're just going to keep it local. All right. I'm going to bring my virtual machine back up. It's probably gone to sleep, so I'm going to use CNT class to get in. Here's my command prompt. I'm going to close that for now. I'm going to go to my network settings right here. I'm going to shut the NIC off. I'm going to go in here to where I do my settings, IP4. I'm going to do manual. 192, I might need to put numlock on. 192.168.10.202. So I'm going to take my computer number and make it a 200 number. 215, 219, 220. Netmask 255, 255, 2550, and I'm going to not worry about the gateway. So I'm going to do apply, and I'm going to turn my NIC back on, and I'm going to look for that to show up, and it does. But I am going to verify with command prompt anyway. So on my Linux machine, I'll do ifconfig, and I see 192.168.10.202. Excellent. So now that those are set, I'm going to do a quick test ping between. So since I'm on Linux, I'm going to do a ping to the Windows side, 192.168.10.102. And I should get some replies, which I do. Good. Control-C, I'll stop that ping. Now that I know everything's formatted, I'm going to do a Wireshark on the Windows side and capture a couple of these pings. So over here on the Windows side, let me minimize one or two things here. I'm going to get a new Wireshark going. I'm going to minimize him just a little bit. Here's my Ethernet 3. I'm going to start that. I'm going to go to my Linux machine, and I'm going to ping it. I'll do 5 or 6. I don't need a whole lot. I'll do Control-C to stop it. I'll come over here to Wireshark, and I'll do stop. Oh, excuse me. So here, I'm going to put a filter in Wireshark for ICMP. Pings use ICMP data, so we're going to look for ICMP protocol. And I see request, reply, request, reply, request, reply. And these numbers should make perfect sense now because I just set them. 202 to 102, 102 to 202. So request, reply. Hey, are you there? Yes, I am. Hey, are you there? Yes, I am. Hey, are you there? Yes, I am. That's what we're seeing. So let's highlight one of these requests, and we want to look at the IP4 header. So I'll highlight the first one I have here. Down here is my Ethernet header, my IP header, ICMP header. Well, let's open up the IP header, and let's look at the fields that are in here. Let's try to identify the fields that we read about. First one is version. It's saying it's an IP version 4. Here's our header length, letting us know how long it is. Here's our total length. Okay. Actually, in here, there's identification. I think that's one of the next ones I have listed. Total length, identification. If this happened to get fragmented, the identification field says, hey, all these fragments go together. That's what the identification field is for. The flags field lets us know if it's fragmented, and if it's, like, hey, the first or last or whatever it happens to be. And then the fragment offset allows us to put all these fragments back in order. Hey, this one goes first, this one's the middle, this one's the last, etc. Here's our TTL field. This is basically an expiration after so many hops or so many things it traverses through. This number keeps decrementing. It decreases each time. If that reaches 0, it's considered, the packet is considered, hey, I couldn't get there. Let's expire it, if you will. Protocol says, hey, ICMP is enclosed inside. And then here is a header checksum. And last but not least, where it's coming from and where it's going to. Okay, these should look like the header fields that you read about in your book. That's what we should be seeing. So in here, let's copy. We want to do the this request here. We want to copy the source and destination address. So in here, let's try this whole. We're going to copy. All visible selected. We'll do all visible items. That's fine. We'll do all visible items. I'll go over here to my notepad file and we'll do part. I think we're in part 4 now. No, we're in part 5, excuse me. So we are in part 5. Part 5, IPv4 header. And I'm going to paste that in. Now we got a lot in there, so I'm going to get rid of all this extra stuff here and just keep my source and destination. And this was in the ICMP request. And I'm going to now go ICMP reply. So I'm now going to look at the reply and do the same thing. Well, the reply, I should see these addresses just flip-flop. That's what I should see. So we'll do copy, all visible items, and I'll go over here and I will do a paste. And again, I will get rid of all this extra stuff right there. And I'll see these addresses flip-flop is what they really do. So in the request, it was coming from Linux going to Windows, and the reply, it's coming from Windows and going to Linux. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing in those header fields. So there is my IPv4 header. Now, before we leave this, we're going to set these back to dynamic. So I'm going to close my Wireshark. I don't need that till the next part. Here on my Windows machine, I'm going to set this back to dynamic. So go in here, network and sharing, Ethernet 3, properties, IP4 properties, obtain, and we're going to say close on all those and let that pick up an IP from the college. And then over here, we're going to do the same thing. Network settings, shut the NIC off, go to here, IP4. I'm going to be extra careful here, or extra cautious. Delete all those and then go to automatic and apply. And then turn my NIC back on, and I should see the 172.21 show up, and I do. So now they're ready for the next part of the lab. Next part of the lab, we're going to look at IP version 6.